You're listening to Around Comics. 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 Comics.
You are listening to Around Comics, episode 440. I'm Brian Salazar. With me is Christopher Niesman and Thomas Caters. We are Around Comics. It is Thursday. We are live on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and Facebook and recorded on tape, on vinyl.
We're cutting the wax right now.
You can get a cassette of this episode.
That's right.
On Bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
On Bandcamp.
Nice.
Thank you to everyone who helped protect democracy yesterday or 2 days ago. Thank you.
Protect
you.
democracy.
Thank you if you voted.
Protected us. You protected us from those baddies.
Thank you for voting, unless you disagree with me.
Unless you voted with Herschel Walker.
Yeah. Then please don't.
Well, let's be honest. You probably aren't smart enough to listen to a podcast, so
no. There's one Herschel Walker voter listening who's like, these sons of bitches. These
for the 30,000 people that voted for Tony Evers and Ron Johnson, I don't understand you.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
So there's an answer there.
Oh, shut up. You're gonna go Q on us.
I don't even know who those people are.
Our governor, our Democrat governor, and our Republican senator.
Why would there be people that would vote for one old white guy and not, the
younger black
surprise
guy?
Listen,
hey, I'm from Wisconsin. I know how this goes.
Old white guys have been running this country for hundreds of years. And things are okay, Tom. Things are just fine.
Hey, I'm gonna be an old white guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I am an old white guy.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Enough about that.
I obviously think I'm right about everything. So yes.
Isn't that just human nature? I think we all think we're right, and that's the problem. Is no one's really right. We're all full of shit.
I don't think I'm right all the time. Actually, I think I have a very healthy sense of not knowing the answer to everything. That has only come with age. It was not a thing. I
was gonna say I've podcasted with you for a long time now, Tom, and I don't know if I agree with that statement.
Yeah, I think age humbles one.
Oh,
it does do that. It does do that. It does do that.
Kids also will
bring you down a few notches.
Bring you down to earth. Yeah, very true.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
So what's happening? What's going on, guys?
Not a lot.
We killed another creator with our trade talks.
Oh yeah, right. God, that was weird.
The next day.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit, Kevin O'Neill passed away.
Why is Kevin O'Neill? Yeah, that was a weird timing. I mean, not to blame. I'm not blaming Kevin O'Neill.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
dude, what?
It was just strange that we just, we're talking about him a day beforehand or whatever, 2 days, and in our last episode, and unfortunately passed away. And then Carlos Pacheco.
Yeah.
I always want to put an N in his name for some reason.
Yeah.
I want to call him Pacheco. Passed away just yesterday, right? That happened this morning or something.
Yeah, something like that. So bummer. Tom Palmer just passed away not too long ago.
Oh, yeah, we're losing a lot of artists this year.
Yeah, like our era of creators, the ones that we grew up
Yeah, I was thinking today, with the passing of Carlos Pacheco and Kevin O'Neill, it's always like a little. In the general zeitgeist of the world, there's many things pushing things to be automated and artificially intelligenced and free of the hand of a person doing it. you know, and you think about like an artist, right? Like even probably more so than a writer, you know, like no one can exactly draw like this person. Like there's other people that can draw the story, obviously. Like there's no like I'm magic, you know, I can magically tell a story no one else can, but no one can exactly duplicate, you know, someone's, you know, style and their way of, you know, telling a story. So it's just especially poignant to lose artists sort of in these times of, you know, automation.
Well, certainly. I mean, I think when you know, I know that like we had this wave of sort of like the comic industry really catering towards writers more so than artists. But I mean, you know, how many characters, especially in like superhero comics, like how many characters and are you identify with particular artists, you know? And it's just like you don't necessarily do the same thing with writers, and you know, it's a different...
outside of what Moore probably.
Yeah, but even Alan Moore, you just sort of associate with Alan Moore. You don't. It's not like one. You know, Watchmen certainly, but like you don't necessarily think like when you see, you know, Batman. Do you think Alan Moore? Maybe, but you probably think Frank Miller. You know what I mean? Like, or it's like, do you think Frank Miller because of Batman, because of his writing, or because of his art?
Oh, the art. Yeah, it's the visuals that come to mind, right?
Yeah. So I think there is that super strong link, and it's like, you know, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. We talked about it on the last episode. Like that would not be the same story without Kevin O'Neill. It just wouldn't. It just would not be the same art and martial law, and you know, different the stuff that he's done. It's like his style was so unique. Yeah, you can't ever really replicate that. Is somebody hitting something? Is somebody...
It's not me.
I hear like a banging.
Is Tom tapping on his desk?
I don't know.
Speaking of martial law.
Oh, I think we lost Tom.
We just lost Tom. We offended Tom.
We offended Tom, and he left the show. That's the end of it. You're not,
and we're done.
And that's it. That's the end of Around Comics. Now we can move on to something else.
But speaking of martial law, right?
Speaking of, I was gonna. Well, and I after we found out of the unfortunate passing of Kevin O'Neill, I decided that martial law would be my pick for the next trade talk. So
cool.
I'll
never read it.
Oh, really? You've never read martial law?
Never read martial law.
Oh,
that is a blind spot in my 1980s comic reading.
Oh wow, yeah. Maybe was it 80s, 90s? I don't remember. I don't remember when it came out.
Tom, I just admitted that I've never read martial law.
I don't think I've read all of it, but I've read some martial law in my time, so I look forward to reading more.
The first volume is really the best of it, I think. You know, there's after that, I don't know, it just didn't have the same. Story-wise, didn't have the same impact, I don't think. And I think there's a deluxe edition that came out at one point, but it's really expensive now if you don't have it. So yeah,
lost a little bit of its kick once it got
I don't know, it just had a different tone to it from what I remember, and it just I remember the second storyline was just sort of like, I don't know if I just didn't quite grasp it or you know, it didn't. I think part of it was the first one, it was martial law. And then the second one was like more about the guy behind the mask a bit. And it kind of lost a bit of its teeth because of that. It was like, I don't really, I you know, it's like, I don't need to know that much about this fucking guy and why he's, you know, I just, you know, I just want to kind of laugh at, you know, the satire of martial law. It's such good satire. But then, you know, when it would almost like started to humanize him and portray him as, you know, how like Judge Dredd at one point, like they started to portray Judge Dredd as like actually a good guy in a corrupt system sort of thing. And it's like, well, that's not that. Now all of a sudden you've become a satire of yourself almost, like, you know what I mean? Like you're And that's what I felt. The second, storyline of martial law was weird, but martial law is collected in a hardcover and a trade paperback. DC put out in 2015, but I think it's really hard to get, and it's really expensive in the secondary market. The hardcover I think goes anywhere from $300 to $500.
Whoa!
And I never picked it up because initially there was one that was supposed to come out from Top Shelf, I think, wasn't it Top Shelf?
Probably.
And then it never did, and then DC ended up putting it out. But it was a blind spot that I didn't know that it came out.
Well, now would be a good time for them to do it.
Yeah, republish
it. On Amazon, it's $500.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how people are going to read along. It's not on Hoopla.
Yeah,
you can get it on Comixology for like $25. You get the digital version.
Bucks. Yeah.
That's the complete, which it's certainly worth that, to get. But
is Martha Washington that expensive? I've got that.
Chris always loves when he hears like price gouging on hardcovers.
Yes, but I never sell anything.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I do have the original issues of martial law, and I think that's the funny thing is you can get like CGC graded copies of the original issues of martial law for cheaper than that fucking hardcover.
Yeah,
which is insane. But I do have the original issues, so I'm gonna have to dig those out somewhere and get them. But yeah, for people reading along, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you can get the Comixology. It's unfortunately not available on Hoopla. I wish it was. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. I'm being selfish on this one.
That's just how it is this time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna sell my Martha Washington and retire, man. Big bucks.
Well, we all know why that's why you got into comics to begin with.
to buy random comics,
money,
sell them, and retire.
That's what you were looking for from the beginning. We know.
Yeah, stay in school, kids.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of Frank Miller and Batman, I'm making a terrible segue here. There's a bunch of Frank Miller and Bill Finger and Neil Adams and Carmine Infantino and multiple other references in Gotham Knights, the new Batman-centric video game that I picked up about a week and a half ago. There's some really nice like comic book Easter eggs in there, which is kind of fun to kind of pick out as you're playing them. And then it has to be a relatively new update, but there's one storyline that there is basically a small statue of Neil Adams that they put in there with a nice little dedication to it.
That's cool.
Our
better paid.
Yeah, right.
Or Neil come back.
Yeah, he'll come back to that shit.
He'll come back for your video game money.
Yeah.
Neil will drag your ass from the grave.
I do have to say that stuff is fun whenever you're like, I always enjoy, still to this day, like whether it's in a comic or a TV show or something where it's like some little Easter egg of like some creator's name being used. I think the last one I remember like just sort of seeing it and then going, oh, what was it in? Was it in Titans or Doom Patrol? I think it was Doom Patrol, and it was like a plumbing truck or something. It was like it wasn't it like Infantino plumbing or something or towing. And I was like, oh, that's and it was real subtle. It wasn't really like, they didn't really stick it in your face. It just happened to be Infantino plumbing or something like that. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's a cool.
I think in like Daredevil, the Netflix one, there was some reference to like Bendis Boulevard or something like that.
They always street names are always. I mean, that's
almost too easy.
Tom King does that one a lot, but yeah, that one's always been the kind of thing like, Batman. Whenever like Commissioner Gordon, they'd be calling Commissioner Gordon. Where's some crimes happening, and it's always like.
Cater's
Miller,
way.
yeah, some
O'Neill and Miller.
Yeah, exactly.
Corner,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do always laugh though when Tom King puts Chris, the quarterback of the Gotham Knights, is Chris Campbell.
Oh, that's funny.
The terrible quarterback, like the sports radio guys always get on his ass and like talk about how shitty Chris Campbell is as the
Chris
Gotham.
has got to love that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, he's got to love it. But that always cracks me up that it's like he's used that one over and over again, on the radio in some Batman story. It's just, and that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Who created the Court of Owls? Was that Snyder? Was that his big storyline? Was the Court of Owls?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
I don't honestly know if he created that. I mean, that was his big storyline.
Yeah,
but
I don't remember the Court of Owls before that. They're a big part of the video game, and I've seen on some video reviews. It's like, well, not for sure exactly who these folks are because it's not.
Wasn't there was like an Owl Man Batman villain though, right?
There's Owlman, but that's Earth. Tom, help me out. That's Joe Chill, right? Was the Owlman?
Well, I mean, Watchmen, Owlman,
Oh, am I thinking of the right one?
No, there was a. I thought there was.
Definitely owl based. There's been owl based.
Yeah, but I think the Court of Owls is, Snyder and Capullo definitely created that, and they did a good job of weaving that into the history of, I'm out of focus. What happened?
You are out of focus.
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know. My camera's.
Yeah. That's one of those. We've always been here since the beginning of Gotham. Kind of
right. Yeah.
There's
or sometime in the mid
2000s. There's 800 different people who have been around since the beginning of Gotham who've just been hanging out in various buildings,
just waiting, living on the 13th floor of every high rise.
Yeah, it's damn, man, how many secret societies and villains have just been hanging out for 800 years,
biding their time, just waiting for their chance. Are you guys watching the new season of Titans at all?
I have not gotten
how many
yet. How many episodes out? Two? Just two?
Two. I think there's two.
How is it?
It's Titans.
It's Titans. I enjoy that show.
I like it too. Once you sort of just wrap your head around what it is, you're like, oh, I get what this is like.
Yeah, it's like an adult or not even adult. I mean, it's adult in the sense that they swear, but
it's a little bit more risque than the WB.
Yeah, CW shows. It's not. It's not quite as as teenager centric. But still is to some degree. But I will say
edge to it.
Yeah, a little bit. But I love the guy they got for Connor.
He's perfect.
He could not be more perfect.
Right.
He is so excellent. The way he looks, the way he speaks, everything about that dude. He is the perfect Connor Kent. I don't know that they could have cast someone better than him straight up. I mean, in this season, Lex Luthor is involved. So you have,
and I love Titus.
Titus
Welliver.
I think
he's Bosch.
Yeah,
right?
The guy from Bosch, and
so good.
He's Lex Luthor now. But Connor shows up at Lex's place, and he's wearing the black T-shirt with the red Superman symbol to sort of show his allegiances, and it's that is Connor. It's perfect Connor Kent. And as he gets older, I'm that guy maybe should be Superman someday, because he does it right. He has he's instilled an innocence and naivety in him, in his speech pad, the way he speaks, and the way he's not dumb. He's very smart, but he has a innocence about him, and it works perfectly for Connor.
Yeah, it's and Nick Lindsay. Yes, Crypto is in Titans, and Crypto's awesome.
Crypto is awesome. Crypto and Titans may be the smartest character in the whole show. You gotta get it. Crypto's why won't I just feel every time Crypto's barking, he's just why aren't you listening to me? Why? What the fuck?
Something.
Yeah, exactly. He's just come on. I think Crypto might be the smartest character in the show.
Yeah. But this season is what Brother Blood, is that who the big bad is going to be?
Spoilers. Why
Jesus.
Or is it Brother Blood?
I don't know. I'm asking. There's a lot of blood. That's
There's
why
a lot of
I
blood.
ask. There's a lot of blood.
I think it might be more sister blood at this point.
Is that okay?
I don't know.
It's the name
I
of
don't
that
know.
episode was like Mistress Mayhem or something like that.
I don't know.
Is
I don't
that
even
somebody, Tom?
Mistress Mayhem.
Mistress Mayhem. I don't know specifically, but I guarantee there's been a Mistress Mayhem at some point.
I think Robert Kraft might know her.
Mistress Mayhem.
But no, sorry. Yes.
You saw Black Adam.
I did.
What'd you think?
What's the matter, Chris?
I just love Tom.
When Tom went into his interview mode there, just for a second.
Yeah, it's who's the guy with the
Thumbs
bad dyed hair? Who just
James Lipton?
Yes. Tom was doing his James Lipton there.
What's your favorite word?
Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I did. It's one, The Rock is extremely charismatic guy. He's always fun to watch. He's an enormous human being at this point. He's kind of ridiculously huge.
It's almost too much.
Almost too much. He's almost to the point now. It's like, dude, and the thing that cracks me up is
like 60.
He's 50 something years old, and he says he works out like 5 hours a day, and yet he's clean. And it's like, yeah, no, you're not, Rock.
Come on.
You're in the greatest shape you've ever been in your life, and that includes you were a college football player and a professional wrestler, and in your 50s you're more ripped and more muscle mass than ever before. Yeah,
it's weird because he is so charismatic. He doesn't need to be like this freak of nature. Yeah, like.
And that's
for people to find him entertaining. Like,
I don't think anyone needs him to be that huge at all. And there was a time where he started, when he started to transition in the films, like he was slimming down quite a bit. If you look at a picture of The Rock when he first said he wanted to play Black Adam, however many years ago it was, and the picture of him now, you would think that he was given the powers of, Solomon and the street,
actually
he could. So in the movie, they show him, after he says the word Shazam and he reverts back to his normal self, and he could have played that character back then when he first announced that he was wanted to play Black Adam, and then say Shazam, and you just show the guy from today, and that's how different it is. But anyway, The Rock is a super entertaining guy, and the movie I thought it did an excellent job of, one, for the most part, staying on target of Black Adam is not necessarily a good guy. He's not a super villain. He's not evil. But he's not necessarily a good guy. They did give him a bit of a redemption story to some degree, and there was a nice twist in there that I kind of liked for it. But
if you were going to assign him a D&D class, what would it be? An alignment?
Black Adam?
Yeah,
chaotic good, maybe. I think would be. I don't know. I don't remember my D&D classes or alignments that well, but I would say probably chaotic good because he will kill. But he has a moral code. He's not he's not a super villain, but he's not a superhero necessarily either.
So
and that's how they played it. It's like he did, it was an interesting thing because he very much did not want to be called a hero. The people of what's the place he's from?
Kahndaq.
Yeah, Kahndaq. When he came back, they really wanted him to be their hero because the way they showed it is Kahndaq has been taken over essentially by shit. I can't think of the organization in DC Comics.
Is it that gang that
it's like Inner Gang basically?
Inner
Gang.
Yeah.
So Inner Gang is basically through advanced technologies has taken over Kahndaq and mining it for this mineral, some silly name, absolutium or some shit, ultimatium. I don't remember what it was called. And the people there are very oppressed, and a lot of parallels with countries around the world.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that was a pretty strong thing, but it wasn't like you know, I think if it faltered in any way, it was just sort of like they were definitely still trying to be kid friendly and to some degree sell toys and that
Is
kind of
there
stuff.
is there any sort of tie with Shazam?
Well,
The movie Shazam?
no, there was
Okay.
no link between Shazam's not in the movie.
Okay.
But I mean, there's a link in the sense that he has the same powers and he got
Mhm.
them from Shazam. But no, there was no link. But the JSA being in it was cool as shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Dr. Fate's so fucking cool. And Dr. Fate was awesome. The guy who played Hawkman was cool. Hawkman was a big part of it. Like he was sort of the main antagonist against Black Adam. Who else was in it? The
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific was not.
Atom Smasher.
Atom Smasher was in it. And he was funny. They definitely set him up to be sort of like a kid-friendly character. He was sort of like the Flash kind of, you know, I'm just happy to be here. The Spider-Man, you know, young guy who's just sort of like, you know, out of his league and, you know, just trying to fill the shoes of his uncle, I think is how they explain. Yeah, it was his uncle. Who was played by, well, I shouldn't spoil it, but played by someone that anyone our age would appreciate.
Yeah, nice.
And then the girl is Twister, Tornado. What the hell's her name?
Cyclone.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Is that tied to Red Cyclone and is it Ma Hunkle?
Well, yeah, she's
Ma Hunkle.
Her name was Hunkle, yeah. So she was Ma Hunkle's granddaughter, I believe.
Nice. I love that Ma Hunkle was the Red Tornado.
Yeah. And yeah, it was cool, man. It was cool seeing the JSA. I hope that it propels a JSA movie because they definitely set it up like the JSA exists and has existed for a long time, and but didn't necessarily set them up to be the good guys. I mean, in it, because it's like and that was a big part of the movie, was sort of like the idea of, you know, the heroes come, the JSA come to sort of like stop Black Adam, but they're like, well, what are you stopping him from doing? Protecting his own people, and from this, you know, from this corporation that's oppressing.
Sounds like
everyone.
it's stuck pretty tightly to the actual JSA comic. Storylines of Black Adam. You know, joining the JSA and fighting the JSA. And
was Don Kramer drawing it at that point? That was Jeff Johns and was Don Kramer?
Yeah, Kramer drew a lot of it, but
yeah, he drew some of it.
Yeah, I love.
Who was the other? Who was the other artist before Kramer, though? I can see it. I just can't think of the name.
Right.
Yeah. I wish I knew.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
I'll look up. Yeah, they're in a different room.
Yeah. But no, it was. I thought it was pretty cool. It was actually like the first time I actually liked Eaglesham. Dale Eaglesham. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, he did it when they relaunched as like, because the original JSA relaunch it was Goyer and Johns and
that all came out of Starman guy.
James Robinson. I mean, when the straight up JSA book where it was JSA as opposed to the Justice Society of America one that came later, which those JSA comics are some of my favorite comic books.
That was good. Good serial.
Awesome.
Super
they were really fun.
Comic.
Yeah.
Let's see. JSA. James Rooney, Stephen Leonard Kirk, Jeff Johns.
Oh wow.
Art of Steven Sadowski,
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Kirk, and Don Kramer. That was the first JSA.
It was so good.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and there was a whole huge chunk of that was Hawkman and Black Adam, becoming a anti-hero, and how the JSA deals with that, and the fact that some of the JSA leave to go help Black Adam, like they essentially join him.
Right.
And,
it turns into this huge schism in the team. I mean, it's picking sides of, for or against Black Adam. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. It was excellent.
Yep. Yeah.
I may have to go back and reread that stuff, because that was one of my favorite. As that was coming out, that was one of the books that I was actually like, okay, I'm getting this every month, because I really, really enjoyed that.
There's that one issue. There's a one-shot issue of that where it's like Wildcat's birthday, and he's like by himself in the brownstone, and like the Injustice Society like attacks. So it's just Wildcat,
him against. I remember that.
Him against all the rest of them, and that's such a really great like single issue story.
Because it was always like, well, what? He's just a boxer. He's just a dude. Just an old boxer, and it's like, well, he's much more than just a boxer.
Well, there was some weird point where someone gave him the powers of having like 9 lives, and in that issue, they killed off all the extra lives. That was like the function of it, to like get him back down to just like
more mortality.
Yeah, he at some point, the JSA have been through so many, like,
sure,
now magically they're in Valhalla, and now they're back, and now they're aged, and now they're young, and now like
anything can happen.
Anything can happen with them. It doesn't. I mean, it's great to hear that Dr. Fate is cool, because I think Dr. Fate is a rad character.
Pierce Brosnan was excellent as Dr. Fate. Spoiler, I don't think he will be playing Dr. Fate moving forward.
There's always
the helmet can just go to somebody else, right?
The helmet, yeah. But there was really cool, like, what was really cool about what I thought was pretty well done was the idea of like Dr. Fate and Hawkman have been working together, and they're friends, and they have been for a long time, and you felt that. Like those two actors, even though, the actor who played Hawkman is much younger than Pierce Brosnan, you could, like, they did a really good job of conveying these guys have a relationship. Like, they've known each other. They've been friends for a long time. They've worked together. They trust each other. And so that was really cool. You got the sense of that. Like, this wasn't something that just came together in this movie. No, these guys have been around for a long time and been together for a long time. And then they added Cyclone and Atom Smasher as sort of the rookies, so that they had that part of it, so it was kind of fun in that sense. But I thought that was really well done. Like this group has been around for a long time, even though we've never seen them in a DC movie yet.
Yeah, well, that was always the strength of that series, is that it was, I mean, JSA more than any other series or property at DC is about legacy, right? And which just plays right into Jeff Johns's wheelhouse. And you always had this really interesting mix of like the original JSA members like Wildcat and Alan Scott Green Lantern, but then you would have like the new Stargirl or Atom Smasher, who was related to the original Atom, right?
Well, it's funny because like the JSA actually required the thing that maybe makes Jeff Johns annoying sometimes, is like I have to like futz with like the retcon this to like make this happen, and like there's 3 Jokers, and Barry Allen, parent were killed.
Well, one time it was like he was doing things to make stuff a little cooler, or like to make sense of some stuff, and he did a really good job.
He was fixing.
The JSA needed that. Like the JSA was such a continuity mess. It was like good that someone was like, actually, this is what happened, because it was like, oh, okay, now we know. Like, because it was so like, Hawkman. It's like, what the hell? Who is Hawkman? Is he an alien?
Right,
is he, like it didn't make any sense. It was
12 different.
Don't read the Wikipedia page. Save yourself.
So having someone be like, I am going to write a new kind of take everything and make a new origin was like, yeah, okay, cool, you know. But then sometimes when you do that with other characters, it's like no one was asking for this. You know,
it's like if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, like if
it's like no one wanted this. Like, why are we doing this? And JSA was like, please, somebody like do this. Like, we need to make sense of who the hell these people are. And
more than one Joker is not necessary. One Joker is good enough. We don't need 3 Jokers.
We don't need 3 Jokers.
Well, you know, I don't think that, and Tom, this is your, you know, area of expertise, but I don't think that the Flash was broken when he took it over, but he certainly put his stamp on it as a writer. But then I think we all can agree he fixed the JS. He and James Robinson did a lot, but I think Jeff Johns really cemented that team and fixed it. And then he did it with Green Lantern too, because Green Lantern was a mess until Rebirth.
Yeah, I mean, and then, you know, and then maybe perhaps some things after that weren't quite as successful. But yeah, I mean, JSA, it was like, you know, these characters, they got shuffled off in the 80s to like, they went off to Valhalla and that's where they are now, you know, and or you know, then it got like changed to actually they quit being because of the government was investigating them. Then it's like now they're back and they're old, they're young, and now they're back in the, you know, and it was like, what's going on? Because no one knew what to do with them to like make them fit the story, you know. So and then it was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it like this, and then like it made it make sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think the cool, you know, and that was kind of the neat thing that Johns did, is that, you know, going back, it's like he made it multi-generational, because I don't know if people wanted to read a book about a bunch of old superheroes. I mean, that can be an interesting idea for a graphic novel, but Johns did, he diversified the lineup, so you had these, you know, older and younger members, and I think that was a lot of the magic of that series.
In that JSA relaunch, you know, was very action oriented. Like, I think, you know, if you had a criticism of the later Justice Society of America, which I enjoyed a lot of that stuff, especially at the beginning, it's a little soft focus, and it's a little like, oh, isn't this great? Like, you know, it was a little too
nostalgic,
like,
a little too
nostalgic. The nostalgia was maybe like turned up just like a notch too high. Whereas with that JSA, it was just like, no, this is just like, this is an action book, and here's Mr. Terrific, and here, you know, like, and here's Sand, and here, you know, like, just like, this is the, you know, he did such a good job of like mixing all the legacy characters together, but then having them like do stuff.
Well,
like,
it was
like every issue was just like boom, boom,
It
boom,
made Dr.
you know,
Midnight cool, and I love that costume.
It was legacy characters, but it wasn't stuck in the past. Like, it, you know what I mean? Like, it was a modern comics with these older characters, and there was the generational link, like you said, Chris, between the younger, you know, characters, the carrying on the mantle. But it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna go fight some Nazis that popped up in 1999. You know what I mean? Like, no, they're just gonna be superheroes in this day and age. Like, they just happen to also be, you know, from the fucking 20s, you know. But I've since then I've always been a big fan of the JSA, and like I said, seeing it on the big screen, seeing Dr. Fate be cool, I think the few, you know, whatever 10, 15, 20 minutes of Dr. Fate, you know, fighting Black Adam was better than 2 Doctor Strange movies, I think, as sort of like a mystical. But if anything on the movie like that I would, you know, was not done well was, you know, The Rock is a funny guy. Like, he's a pretty naturally funny dude. Like, he can do comedy and stuff. But this character, you know, like Black Adam is an incredibly serious character. He's not really funny, and for the most part, they stuck to that. But like I said, they kind of wanted to keep it kid friendly, so they have this story about this woman and her son that is involved, and it's sort of like it reminded me of like when in Terminator 2, when like the Terminator is this kid's toy. And I mean, there literally was like these parts where like the kid is teaching Black Adam modern vernacular, and to some degree, and like some of it was a little cheesy, and it's just like, I could have done without that stuff, but it's like you want to sell. DC wants to sell, Black Adam, which is weird. It's like I don't know how many times in the movie he basically says, "Well, I do kill. And I'm never gonna stop killing people that come here to try and hurt people." And yeah,
Merry Christmas.
yeah, exactly. And then it's like, but here's your Black Adam toy, like here's your Black Adam lunchbox.
Get your Black Adam with his neck breaking arm action,
Yeah.
But you liked it.
I did like it a lot.
Okay.
I did enjoy it. I mean, I think DC still has a long way to go to try and catch up to Marvel, certainly. But I think this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Speaking
of, are you going back to the movie theater this weekend
for Wakanda Forever? I don't know, man. Honestly, I loved the first movie, but I don't know if I'm that interested in seeing a movie without
a Black Panther-less Black Panther movie.
Yeah, I mean, I get it and all, and I'm sure people will enjoy it, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
I haven't decided if I'm just gonna wait the month and watch it on Disney Plus.
I'm kind of waiting to see what the reviews are like. I want to kind of see what people think, because I love that first movie. Besides the dodgy CGI, it's
the ending's not great.
It's a great movie,
but it is a great movie. But
it's one of the best villains in a Marvel movie.
Killmonger? Was it
Killmonger?
Yeah,
Killmonger.
Yeah. Well,
Chadwick Boseman just so, like I said, I've said this over and over again. He just so embodied that character for me. It'll be tough to watch it and not be cynical about it to some degree of just they're cashing in on you bastards. Just I don't know. It's like a band breaks up. The drummer dies and they just get another drummer. It's I can't. There's part of me that just has a hard time, even if it's better.
I gotta tell you, man, I saw a lot of Black Panther costumes on Halloween. It's still a hot costume.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Good. I see a lot of kids in it, so in a way, it's always it's tough because you're do you do a Black Panther movie without him? But then also you're kind of I don't know, that movie had such a cultural impact of people's reactions to a Black superhero. That partly part of it too is obviously making money's the most important thing to Disney. But I'm sure there's people creatively who were I don't, maybe there is a responsibility not to just be well, we can't do it because he's gone. We gotta
absolutely not. Yeah. No, I don't think Chadwick Boseman would have wanted them to not do another movie. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's disrespectful in that regard. I don't, you know what I mean? I certainly don't feel like it is. Because it was bigger than any one person. That movie was such, like you said, a cultural phenomenon and just such a touchstone for people. And I certainly am not, trying to diminish that in any way. It's just me personally is one, you're
what is it going to be about? And then you're sort of who's in it? What? And then there's Namor, who I'm always just oh god.
And the one shot I saw of him, he was flying and his little wings on his feet were fluttering. And right there, I'm
no,
he has winged feet, and that's fine, but they were fluttering. And I'm
guys, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a Namor hater. Never liked Namor.
Never liked Namor.
Whenever Namor shows up in something, I'm just oh god.
Downer Namor.
That's
it's it's not fun Aquaman. Just okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's if Aquaman and Dr. Doom had a baby.
No, because Dr. Doom's 9 million times more interesting than
Dr. Doom has pizzazz.
I'm just talking.
Yeah, he's got pop. He's
style.
Playing piano and he's just he wrote. He's got Doom bots and shit like that.
It's funny if you think about Doom is obviously based, kind of like Hitler in some degree, who would Namor be as like a real world dictator? Sort of like who's the most boring?
Who's the boring one?
Yeah, because even like you couldn't say Putin, because say what you will about Putin, he's got dictator vibe.
It's probably some Eastern Bloc dude from like the 70s that we don't even remember if it's like he just ruled for like 40 years without anyone being like, right. This guy's just boring. It's just like Namor just shows up and it's like, oh, now there's going to be like, anytime in a Marvel comic when it was like, now we're going to this adventure is underwater, I was always like, nah, man, this ain't it. Get out of here. Like, not into this.
Hey man, one of the oldest comic book characters. That dude goes back to the 40s.
I know.
Oh, Joe G said Muammar Gaddafi, but Muammar Gaddafi had an entire army. Wasn't he? He had a whole army of women, like assassins that worked for him, right?
Women.
That's some super villain level dictator shit right there.
Gaddafi never promoted himself higher than colonel.
Yeah. I don't. Maybe Hitler's the wrong analogy for Doom though, because like both Doom and Namor, like they were presented as sort of like, hey, we're just protecting our people and our lands.
Doom's he's sort of like ludicrous in a way too. It was just like
the rapper.
What's his like? He's like Ludacris, the rapper. Just like with the Doom bots and just like the insane lengths of like what like Doom's like. I have made this time machine, and the first thing I'm gonna do is go taunt Reed Richards with it. Is like my first order of business.
That's all you can think of, Doom? You have a time machine?
Yes, finally. I've got an army of Doom bots. And, he's just, he's such a great character. I'm angry that you can even mention a Namor within a mile with Doom. Namor sucks.
I was just talking about the just kind of that pomp of out of my way ants kind of thing,
shirtless with like his little wings on his feet.
I will give him credit though, like he did not give a shit that Susan Richard was married to Reed Richards. Like he moved right in on that. He could care less, and over again Namor did not care. He had no respect of the sanctity of marriage.
That marriage is only on land. It doesn't count on the water.
That's right. What happens in Atlanta stays in Atlanta.
Stays in Atlanta.
Nice.
Yeah, he did not care about that shit. But I think the only Namor, like, I mean, I remember, and I don't even remember when I read it because obviously it was years and years after it happened. But like, I still can remember that scene when Johnny Storm burns off Namor. He finds Namor as a like as a bum on the. And he burns his beard off, and then it's like it's Namor, and I don't know why, like that stuck with me forever, and I don't even remember what the like.
How many homeless guys did Johnny,
burn beards off of?
Burn like just like it's just a guy.
Oh, it's just Fred. It's not. It's not.
You're not Namor. I mean, burn these clothes. These rags off you.
That was just them bringing Namor back from the invaders days, or not invaders, but like the World War II era Namor, right?
Yeah.
He was on land, or he was alive, but he was what do you call it?
Hadn't been in the ocean. He had amnesia from not being in the water, I guess, and as one does,
hobos don't go swimming in the ocean.
No, of course not. Yeah.
No. And then then Johnny burns his beard off, throws him in the ocean, and then he's a dick. It's like, dude, I just saved you from being a bum, and got you to remember that you were the king of Atlantis, and this is how you hit on my sister, my married sister.
So my true I'm not going to go see this in the theater is like I won't pay money to
support Namor.
Say, I won't support Namor.
I will not.
Say no Namor.
No to Namor.
We can see the sign.
What was the thing with like
no more Namor?
No
more Namor.
No more Namor. That needs to be a T-shirt. We need to make that into a
Yeah.
T-shirt. No more Namor.
Yeah, no more Namor. Just done.
I've got our ACD&D shirt on.
I think that needs to be a shirt. No more Namor.
It's done. Kill him off.
Yeah, he's not that great. He really isn't.
He's not that great.
Yeah.
He's been around for so long.
And why
It's
would
like,
why
I
would
mean-
he even be like the Black Panther?
I don't-
You know,
I don't know, man.
I mean, he doesn't even represent like something that would make sense. Not
Is
that every
Wakanda
Black
near an ocean? I always thought it was like in the African interior.
yeah,
Oh,
so-
like
I mean,
landlocked.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how it's presented, kind of.
yeah,
right.
It's hidden
So,
away.
What does he care? It's in a desert.
I guess we got to
Well,
find
I guess
out.
we'll find out.
Yeah. Another weird thought I had the other day when I was thinking about Black Panther and all the sort of, how all 60s and 70s Black superhero characters were named Black something. And then I was like, why wasn't Black Widow Black? Like I get the whole Russian assassin thing, but it's like you could have made her like
Cultural appropriation.
Black Canary.
You could have made her like Black Canary. But like if Black Widow is like a Foxy Brown kind of a character, like Black Widow, she would have been awesome. That would have been a much cooler. Not that I don't like Scarlett
When did
Johansson.
Black Widow? What? Here, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll find out what year.
When
she
Black
was,
Widow came out? I'm gonna guess 1976 is my guess. I don't know. It might have been way before that. It could have been. I don't think it was. Would it have been the 60s? They wouldn't have done a Russian character in the 60s. Well, she was a villain. Could have been the 50s. Shit. For all I
Chris
know.
is an Alta
It is
Vista.
created by Stan Lee,
That's
Don
right.
Rico, and Don Heck in
me and John.
1964. Tales of Suspense number 52. I have a feeling that was probably
1962.
No, 64. Is that what I said?
Me and Don Heck went over to Siberia, and I was in this strip club, and there was this gorgeous stripper named Natasha Romanoff, and I thought she'd be a great superhero. All she wore was bracelets and a gold belt. Iron Man 1965 with Hawkeye, Joe Galusic is saying. But you're wrong, Joe. You're wrong. Get your facts straight.
Yeah, well, it was Iron Man.
Tales to Astonish.
Yeah, they were. I don't know. Yeah, she was in the Iron Man story. So because they would do backups. Because what Tales of Suspense was that Iron Man and Doctor Strange, or I forget which one. No, that was Tales to Astonish. Whatever. They were all. It ends up being Nick Fury, right? Is he?
Well, it would have been like some sort of espionage story, I would guess. In 1964, and a Russian assassin. Like it has to be like an Iron Man villain or something. Yeah, she had to be.
Introducing the gorgeous new menace of the Black Widow. Yeah.
The Black Widow.
Yeah. Looks like she's teamed up with Crimson Dynamo because, of course.
Oh, of course, yes, of course.
Soviet
All Russians. Oh, yeah. What was the
all power to the Soviet?
What was the other? The Red Tornado. What was the other? The Russian. What was the bear?
Red Ghost. There's the Red Ghost.
The Red
that was
Ghost.
the guy with the fucking monkeys.
Oh right. Who was the bear? Wasn't there a bear though? It was like
yes.
Ursa Major.
Ursa Major. Yeah.
Red Star.
I'm one old fashioned in, and I'm just like listing off the Russian characters. I'm like, Ursa Major.
Oh man, I had a really good old fashioned the other day at a restaurant, and it was
what restaurant?
It's on Ogden Avenue in Westmont. It's called Grill 89, I think, or 8.
What kind of what was the old fashioned?
It was I think
now I'm intrigued. Now
now you're interested. Yeah, it was bullet bourbon, and I can't remember what the bitters were. They were flavored bitters, and then it had a black cherry and an orange peel. I mean, it was all booze, but it was it was like a $16 drink, but it was a big glass of booze, and it took me a while to finish it. And as it sat and the fruit got in it more and more, it just tasted better and better. Yeah, it was really. I'm not that big of an old fashioned fan, but man, it was.
As the ice melts a little bit.
A little, yeah. It was it was very tasty by the end of it. And by the end of it, I was a fan of old fashions.
This is a Jack Daniel's single barrel old fashioned.
Nice.
Wow.
It was something.
So you're not a brandy old fashioned guy, huh?
I mean, I have them, but like in regular life, like I'm an adult. How much 7-Up am I going to drink? You know,
right?
Like,
yeah. Well, I'm a Jolly Good.
Jolly.
If you can find it.
What's Jolly Good?
It's like Squirt.
It's
a sour.
Jolly Good's like a line of like generic sodas in Wisconsin. It's like store brand.
Yeah.
You know, like Mountain Holler. Or I'm trying to think of my other favorite generic soda names, which I was looking up the other day.
Yeah.
But I enjoy a brandy old fashioned when I am in Wisconsin and I'm not making it for myself.
Watch Charlie Barron's How to Make a old fashioned video. Yeah, you're aware of who Charlie Barron's is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Manitowoc Minute. He actually he lives in Tosa. He goes to my old man bar. Yeah.
What's your old man bar? Give it a shout
out. Walter's on North.
Oh,
Walter's on North.
I was completely wrong on what this old fashioned. It was called the 89 old fashioned. It was Journeyman Last Feather Rye.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a nice distillery. That's a real nice distillery over in Michigan.
Luxardo Maraschino.
Yep.
And aromatic and orange bitters. And then like I said, it had a black cherry on a toothpick. It was terrific. I mean, it was like I said, it was $16, but it was like, I mean, it's all booze. It's just a giant vat of booze, and it was
rye.
Of rye, yeah.
Rye bitters and probably some sugar syrup.
Yeah, it didn't taste that sweet, honestly.
Okay.
And
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty strong. But like I said, the nice thing was as it kind of melted and the fruit got into it more, it got a little more and more flavorful. Yeah, it was very good. Very tasty.
It's old fashions have gotten to the point where they're one of those drinks that there are so many different versions of them that at some point they stop being old fashioned. I think that happened with Negronis in the last few years. But the last old fashioned I had, I don't even think I would call it an old fashioned, but it was rye whiskey. Equal parts rye whiskey and Demerara sugar syrup.
That's cheating.
The macerated cherries, orange, and topped with about a half ounce of mezcal.
Mezcal,
it's delicious.
I'm not a mezcal fan. I'm not.
Well, it was just a half ounce,
just a little to give it
on this, and it gave it like this little smoke and like savory to cut through all of the sweet from the sugar syrup.
I could see that. I could see that.
For work-related reasons, I've been drinking a lot of cocktails. For
work-related, yeah, me too, Tom. For work-related reasons,
yeah. I get paid. I get paid to do it. I get paid to do it.
Lucky you. You're a lucky bastard.
I get paid. I'm a lucky man. Except when I have to like wear a chicken suit in a presentation. But get your free whiskey. Dance
for your whiskey, boy. Dance for that whiskey.
Exactly. Who's willing to degrade themselves
for whiskey?
For whiskey. Well, Tom.
Me, sir, I am.
Go out there. Write a commercial. Then you got to present this and dance around.
Did you really have to do that in a chicken suit? You had to present.
Yes, it was not. Yes, yeah. I wore a chicken head for something. Yeah.
Wow.
But I've been making a lot of cocktails the last year, and I got really into making margaritas.
Oh,
like simple margaritas where it's just tequila, lime juice, Cointreau. And that's it.
What kind of Cointreau have you?
I've experimented with both like the brand name Cointreau. I've gotten some like We talked about this before. I
Did
know
we?
we have, because we talked about
Oh,
the
okay.
Mexican
contra,
orange liqueur.
Yeah.
Which I also enjoy.
We
Anyway,
are
let's
old
move
men.
on.
We are old
Black
men
Adam talking about
repeating
the same shit all the
Great
fucking
stories.
time. One time I went to I got it. It's like three old men listing off old fashions they have, and they're all the same fucking recipe because no shit. That's old fashioned is whiskey and sugar and bitters, and that's it. And it's like,
Wow, Tom turned on this segment quick.
Yeah.
this one had
went dark.
mezcal in it. This one had mezcal.
So before we leave,
we're such fucking old men.
We are.
We can't deny it. It's not like
we can't out. Yeah. Vote for me.
Two things. I know you had it.
Imagine people older than us being in charge of stuff.
They are
way older.
Imagine someone like twice my age. What they're like, I can barely have a
running the country.
Running the country. They must have the same conversation all the time, just constantly. Just like there must be people that work for them. Like, oh my fucking god, we're gonna talk about the chili again. You know, like the chili. Like,
how many times?
So yes, I get it. Yes, I know. Yeah.
I just saw a comedian who was talking about politics, and he was like, we went from Obama, who was like the most direct president we ever had, is like, we're going to go here and we're going to go do this. And that was Obama. Like, that's all he did. And then we went to, I met this guy in Pennsylvania, and he, on the bus.
Yeah. And he was crying, and he was saying, please, sir, please save us.
Please save us.
Like, oh,
I met this soldier, and he was crying, and he said, sir, can you help us?
Something?
Just touch me on my forehead right here, please. Just touch me.
I never forgot that, man. I just never. And nothing. It is just kind of a funny kind of thing.
No, it's just all old men.
Old men. The first I saw, we have the first, maybe not the first, but the first openly comic book nerd in Congress. And he's gay.
Shit.
He's also openly gay, but he's also the first comic book openly.
From where?
I can't remember.
Obama's big Conan fan. He still reads Conan.
It's
all right. It's like his music playlist. Someone puts that shit.
right. Yeah.
He's not sitting around like
going through long boxes.
Just like, oh yeah, man, I found this sick Conan comic I've never been able to find before. Digging through dollar bin comics.
Where was he from? I can't remember. Congressman. Let's see if he comes up.
Congressman comic book fan. Google search.
Yeah, right. No, it's not coming up. I just happened to see it on one of the social medias, and I can't remember what his
He's not one of those dudes though that like misunderstands comics and be like, Superman would actually incinerate all the immigrants with
like exactly Snyder fan.
Yeah, just like I don't. Well,
my first act in Congress is to release the Snyder cut.
Superman would help build the wall. Just like, oh my god, oh no, like.
And to play him, let me introduce my good friend Dean Cain.
I personally, the way Punisher like murders criminals, I think is like a thing we should be doing. Just like, oh no,
I think he's
we got the wrong kind. We got the wrong nerd.
My first act in Congress is in the library. I want to add Zack Snyder's cut of the JSA.
You know what? The Mutant Registration Act is a good idea.
I've got this plan. It's called Sentinels. Now they adapt.
Yeah, I don't see what's so wrong with this idea. Just like somebody who just doesn't get what the bad guys and good guys are.
He wears a Magneto helmet. He wears a Magneto.
Magneto was right.
No, I think he was. Yeah, I think he was. He was.
They went to the first Gen Zer.
Florida, right?
25-year-old kid. Yeah, I think like Orlando area maybe.
I will say that, like, I mean, we're all liberal and Democrat, here, and but it's gotten to the point now where there is some weird shit going on both sides of like
Oh yeah.
people being elected. Like the dude, I don't know anything about the guy that got elected in Pennsylvania that beat Dr. Oz, and I don't think I really give a shit as long as he beat
Fetterman.
Fetterman. But like
yeah.
that dude looks like he should be working on my toilet. Like not running.
He looks like a dock worker. Yeah.
I think all senators should be 6'5" or taller. Should wear shorts in winter. He's our first open shorts all year.
Yeah.
Senator.
I love not from a southern state.
His acceptance speech he did wearing a fucking hoodie.
Yeah, he dresses in a hoodie, and like I said, I don't know anything about the guy, and I'm glad
he was a mayor. So he has like small town executive experience. He was the lieutenant governor.
No, I'm sure he's fine.
He is.
I don't need his fucking resume.
Yeah, he looks like he's gonna don't run into this guy in a back
alley. But if that dude was a Republican and looked like that. Oh my God! Like you would expect it. Like you would, what I mean? Like you would instantly think that guy was a Proud Boy and part of the Nazi party. Like there's no, but so it's just, there's some kooky stuff going on. All
I
over
like
the
Fetterman,
place.
man. Fetterman's cool.
Shorts all year, baby. That's going to be his first move as senator. Introduced
shorts all year.
Wear
mandatory shorts all year, baby.
Shorts on the Senate floor.
Senator, flip-flops are not allowed on the floor. Right. He's gonna have a big problem.
Shorts day, Fridays, casual day.
You can't spark one up on the Senate floor. He's a big legalization guy. Real quick,
states Missouri legalized.
Yeah. There's a handful of legalized.
Never
shocking
it on the ballot here. Two things before we go. I know we had it on the artwork for the show. I just want to mention real quick. Catch up on Pennyworth. I love the first season. The second season really lost me, and they're leaning into the comic book stuff kind of hard now. And I'm back in. They're
like, oh fuck, we got
fuck it.
What were we doing?
Yeah. It's actually fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. And if you weren't aware, if you want to hear me and Sal and Will talk about our top 5 Marvel MCU movies, you can do that because we made a podcast.
Film Force 5. That's right.
Number MCU. 1, Doctor Strange 2.
No, didn't make the list.
Sorry, Tom. Did not make the list. That is available. It will be available. Well, it'll be, if you're watching us live, it'll be available tomorrow, that episode. Mm-hmm. But if you're listening to this, it's already available. So go get it. It's out. It's out now.
It's
top
fun.
5.
It's fun. It's a hoot. Yeah. And we've got some old friends going to be dropping by. So if you're a AC listener, you might hear some familiar voices coming up.
Put a little energy back into this thing, talking about something other than these fucking lame comic books, these nerd books.
Loser fucking nerd.
All you did was talk tonight.
Me?
Yeah. Look how geeked up you are.
What did I talk about?
Here's your slap, you pigs. Here's your garbage comics.
I think I should just become like a sort of the movie correspondent for Around Comics.
Is that it?
Yeah. You could replace me with someone that actually reads comic books, and I'll just become the movie correspondent.
Movie and TV critic.
Yeah, movie and TV critic for Around Comics. Yeah. I'm good with that. I don't need to talk about comics anymore. Old fashions and movies.
Well, I am looking forward to Martial Law, which once again, that's the new trade talk. Did it as a tribute to Kevin O'Neill. It's a little hard to find, so we'll
good luck.
Well, fun. I'm actually, it's gonna be like being a kid again. I'm gonna have to go on a comic book hunt.
Just go steal it off the internet.
I wasn't gonna say that.
Alan Moore doesn't care, and
Kevin O'Neill's dead.
Yeah, so it's not like you're stealing anything from those guys. I don't know.
They really should release that now that he's passed. They should do a reprint of it.
I don't know why there's not like an oversized, like a fucking artist edition. Mm-hmm. There should be an artist edition.
Who published it originally?
Epic. I think it was Epic.
Okay, it was Epic. All right. Yeah,
Which is
those are
interesting
neat days.
because that's a Marvel comic, right? Epic was Marvel, right?
Epic was owned by Marvel. They kind of had a little more freedom, I think. Alien Legion was an Epic comic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're
it
right.
was that.
Yeah.
That was Epic did some really cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just interesting that DC published the reprint. I wonder how that all came about.
I think
Maybe Kevin O'Neill relationship.
Yeah,
it may have been. Yeah, he may have been. He may have had the rights and been able to.
Pat Mills,
Whatever.
Joe Galuzik. You're right. It's not. I said Alan Moore. It's Pat Mills was the writer of. Is the writer of Martial Law.
Nice. Very cool.
But yeah.
All right. You guys got anything else?
No.
Nope. I think I'm good.
All right. Outstanding. Okay, folks. It was okay. Epic was that's right. Joe just said Epic was Marvel's creator-owned comics. Isn't that what? Wasn't there an Elektra? Did Elektra Assassin come out
On Epic? It might have been.
I want to.
Oh, I think Electro Assassin came out.
It may have been an Epic series.
It might have been. It seems like it probably would have been. I don't know. Was it Electro Assassin, or was that the single issues, or was that the graphic novel?
Yeah. The issues.
That was Marvel, I believe. But then there was the Elektra. Wasn't there Elektra? I can't remember anymore. There was an Elektra graphic novel.
Yeah.
And that I think was Epic. Wasn't Dazzler Epic?
Could have been. Could have been.
Oh, it was no. Electro Assassin is an 8-issue limited series published by Epic Comics.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
so it was Epic.
Yeah, that was kind of like Marvel's like kind of Vertigo in the 80s. It was
Alien Legion, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Oh wow.
Dreadstar, Clive Barker's Hellraiser, Clive Barker's Nightbreed, Elf Quest.
Elf Quest.
Elektra Lives Again. That's what I was thinking about. The Frank Miller, Lynn Varney. Iron Man Crash. Wasn't that the All's first CGI comic? Iron Man Crash.
Yeah. That was no, what was the? I don't know. We're going down rabbit holes. There was the first all computer art comic.
That wasn't it. It wasn't Iron Man.
No, it was called like Shatter or something like that.
Crash.
No. No, it was actually. I think it may have been published by First Comics.
Stray Toasters. That was
another.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of Bill Sienkiewicz stuff. Because they didn't know what to do with him, so I was like, we'll just put him on this other.
Yeah. Go do that. All right, cool guys. Fun talking. Shatter. Thank you, Joe. It was called Shatter. It's a
Shatter,
green and black, like 8-bit cover. Anyway, thank you for listening, Joe. And gosh, who else do we have tonight? Nick and a few other people. Thanks so much for chiming in the comment section. We appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's it. Right? We're good. All right. We will be back next Thursday with an all new, all exciting episode. In the meantime,
in between time,
we'll be everywhere in
Head Around Comics.
Dreadstar.
No name more.
Come.